Hello, everybody.
There he is. Coach, I'll kind of start similar how I did with Maddie. If you kind of want to give quick opening thoughts on getting started tomorrow, and then we'll take some questions.
Well, we're really looking forward to it. I wish it wasn't Idaho State tomorrow. They're very good. Return everybody off an NCAA tournament team, pick to win the league again. They're ahead of where we're at right now because they could hit the floor running, with so many return pieces. So we've got to work it out for us. We're obviously going to be shorthanded. So that just means everybody's got to step up a little bit more. I'm confident in our team, but this is going to be a really good test. This is not going to be like our first two exhibition games for sure.
All right, we'll start with James Greppy of the Oregonian.
Kelly, wanted to get an update on Kylie. First, second, on Hosendove, if you guys have gotten a ruling there just yet, and if there's any clarity on Tahina's timeline.
I've not heard on Taylor. That's in the NCAA timeline here. Kylie should be ready to go, albeit she has not practiced. But from what I understand, she'll be cleared for tomorrow. And then Tahina's, day to day. She still has not practiced. My guess is it's still going to be another couple of weeks. We are shooting for the Atlantis, the Bahamas tournament.
Go to Eric Scopel, 247 Sports.
Coach, just in the interim, then obviously, both Andy and Tahina were expected to be big parts in terms of ball handling. It seems like a lot's going to fall on Maddie's shoulders, Taylor Bigby's shoulders, Elise's shoulders. Just kind of the approach going forward, and I don't even kind of say how you're going to rotate them, but just how they can maybe fit together.
Well, we've basically been playing Maddie at the one anyway. It's shared really when Indy and Tahina are out there. Really, any of those guards can kind of assume that one spot. Taylor Bigby has not practiced much with us, so it's still something really new to her. And what we do, even though we run kind of a pro style offense, there's a lot of reads, there's a lot of nuances to it, and it's tough for a freshman to come in and pick it up, especially one that hasn't been practicing. Elise Hirsch, is a veteran, but she really has never played the point. So we're just trying to mix and match there. I'm confident in our players, though, that they're, that we're going to be fine there. But the downside is we don't have two really, really good players out there playing with us. But the good side is this gives these other players a chance to have to produce and get meaningful minutes early in the season. And in the end, that'll make us better. You guys know me, I'm in it for the long haul anyway. And so, for me, these early season games, obviously you want to win and you want to, and we're going to be tested, no doubt. But for me, it's the long game. We want to make sure that we're playing our best when the best counts in the spring.
I will go Julian Minutes on KEZI.
Yeah, Kelly, speaking of long game, you guys have a lot of length on this team. How much do you think that's going to help you guys, not just with, two really, really good guards out, but just for the long haul is something, an advantage you have against other teams, perhaps?
Yeah, well, I think it's an advantage we're going to have most nights all year long, not just early and not just because these players are out. I think we need to continue to play through those guys. I thought the other night, I thought we did a really good job. Niara had 14 points in 15 minutes. Sedona ended up with a decent game, and Philly had 18 points in 18 minutes. So I thought we did a good job of getting inside. Now with Kai, that's another body inside. So we need to use that as a strength and play to it. No question about it. But I believe in, spreading the wealth, so to speak. And so we need not just great play inside, but we're going to need somebody on that perimeter, step up, make shots, make plays.
Go to Antoine Staley, registered guard.
You kind of spoke about it in the open, but this is not really your traditional opening game, especially with Idaho State and everybody they returned from their team last year. Just talk about the challenges they present to your team, especially opening up the season with them.
Well, like I said, when you schedule these games, you're assuming you're going to be at full strength. Regardless of who we had on our team, and if we had all our players back, it was going to be a difficult game. These guys are good, but you guys know me. We've always scheduled up ever since I've been here. We play a tough non-conference schedule. And then, of course, we play in the toughest conference in the country. So we always have a top 5 strength of schedule when it all said and done. I just think in the end that makes us better. We're going to learn from this, and we're going to be tested. There's no question about it. These guys are coming in, and they're not afraid. They beat Kansas State last year. They played at Nebraska. They could have beaten Kentucky in the NCAA tournament. So these guys are loaded. I mean, this is a really good basketball team. They're not going to be intimidated. They're not going to play scared. They're going to come in intent on beating us. And so we're going to have to be at our best.
Going to go back to James.
To go back to the host and Dove NCAA bit for a second, Kelly, just because I'll give you the floor. As you have the bully pulpit here, but you had a player leave who was a 2-time transfer who just got cleared. And I don't know all the circumstances, but when you have a player leave and get clearance who's a 2-time transfer, and you have a player come in, even if she's expecting to not necessarily get it, to not have clarity, how frustrating is the current circumstance?
Well, it is frustrating, that some can and some get it, some don't. That is frustrating. There's no question. I think they did the right thing in giving the 1-time transfer rule, but now you have to take your chances with the 2-time. Either do a rule, hey, nobody's eligible, or, because I think everybody on those releases, they don't necessarily put the reason down that they're leaving, right? A lot of times they're going to put whatever they think is going to pass the NCAA. What angle can I take that they'll listen to? That's kind of frustrating, but the NCAA's got a lot of issues right now. Yeah, that they've got to worry about and figure out. I mean, right now they're on their heels, so to speak.
I'll go back to Eric.
Obviously, we talked about kind of the absences for Tahina and India as ball handlers, but I was also wondering, just from a shot maker perspective, those are 2 of your best perimeter offensive players too. I'm not going to ask you strategically, but kind of who needs to step up and to fill in there. Obviously, we talked about some of the front court strengths there, so I figured that's part of it. But getting shots from the perimeter, kind of who needs to fill in? Everybody
has to shoot better, I mean, and we have good shooters. They're not all necessarily from range. Sedona's an excellent mid-range shooter. Shania is a good mid-range shooter, but those from the perimeter that are going to get the looks. Elise Hurst, she's a fine shooter. 2 years ago, the last non-COVID year, she made 90 plus 3-pointers. So she's certainly capable there. Sydney Parrish is a good shooter, knocked down, I think 4 of 7 the other night. Maddie Shear hit a couple of threes. So I think we have capable shooters, but it's just one of those, you can't replace Tahina and India. I mean, they're arguably our 2 best shooters. So they'll be missed, but somebody will step up. I'm fully confident in that. And we rely on our defense. We got to continue to get better there. I think we are. We played a poor 4th quarter the other night defensively, but that's something we're going to have to hang our hat on maybe a little bit more than normal.
We'll go to Jerry Thompson, Ducks Illustrated.
Yeah, Coach, you may have touched on already, but there were a couple of players you've really encouraged by their progress from when they've come in to now.
Well, I think the first is pretty obvious to everybody. I really think Filipina Che is, you're looking at a potential big-time pro right there. And she continues to just listen, eat up. She loves to be coached. She makes the adjustments. She didn't get to play at all last year. She's played very little basketball, and just to see the improvement, even from the first game to the second game, just getting her feet underneath her and finishing shots and staying on balance. But every day we see improvement in practice. It's incredible. So she's certainly one of them. And I think, Elise Hurst has really become one of our best defenders. I think she's really stepped up and done a good job. And then what we need out of Shania Pinto, and she's really given us most of the fall, is just great energy. Somebody who can attack the basket. We don't have a lot of them. So she's certainly one. A slasher, can play downhill and get to the basket. And then she's a really good offensive rebounder and defender. So I've been very pleased with her. So those are just 3. I mean, there's some others too, but I think all 3 of those have shown, great progress.
Go back to James.
And touch on it a bit, Kelly, but I'm sure you guys were were and will change quite a bit from not just personnel, but a little bit offensively compared to how you finished last season. You really found the identity that way. Do you think you have to revert a little bit to that though, because of the depth at point guard and because Taylor's only been practicing with you for a week or so, and between Maddie and your bigs, it's a lot of the core of what finished out the season of what you were doing, of playing through the bigs.
Yeah, James. I mean, you understand. You've been around sports long enough to know that you have to adjust to what you have. You want to play through your best players and to your best players. And sometimes when you have some of your really good players out, yeah, you have to change priorities and then maybe look to do something just a little bit different. And, we're certainly not going to change our whole strategy and our whole philosophy, but at the same time, we're going to look maybe more inside, a lot more high-low, perhaps. We to be honest with you right now, we have not shown anything. Okay. Our first 2 games, we haven't run any sets. We're just kind of letting them play. We're one of the few teams that actually stream their exhibition games. Good luck in trying to find other teams that have archived their first 2 games. It just doesn't happen. Idaho State didn't even print the box score from their one exhibition game. So I don't know what the secrecy is. We have chosen not to do that. So, but we also chose not to really show anything, so tomorrow will be a test case, a dry run, so to speak, of what we're really trying to do. Maybe tomorrow night after the game, James, you can ask me the same question, and we'll see.
Any more questions for Coach?
All right,
Nope.
guys.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
Hey, thanks. Good to see you all.
Thanks, Kelly.
Hope to see you in person one of these days soon.